ABC Thursdays.
Welcome back.
Grey's Anatomy is all new.
Why didn't you tell me you were pregnant?
The drama going down
Bungee jumping from the bridge, his cord snapped.
We need all hands on deck.
is unbelievable.
You think you're God's gift to this hospital? You're just another doctor. My relationship with Catherine is complicated. I'm gonna sue you.
Your lawyers know where to find me.
You're unbelievable.
Grey's Anatomy. All new Thursdays, 10, 9 central on ABC and stream on Hulu.
Welcome back, everybody. It's Getaway Day, Friday, September 27th, 2024. Born on this date in 1927, blues harp player Earring George Mayweather of Montgomery. Today, we have another nitrogen execution, a mayor in Washington, Pornhub's big block, and another listener to take the quiz. I'm Mike Morgan, and we're down in Alabama. Alabama carried out its second nitrogen hypoxia execution Thursday evening, reports AL.com's Ivana Rinkiu. 59-year-old Alan Eugene Miller used his last words to say he didn't do anything to be on death row. Now, after the state began applying the nitrogen, he took deep breaths and lifted his head up several times, then shook and trembled for a couple minutes. He gasped on and off for about 6 minutes. Now, the shaking is something that was also witnessed during the first nitrogen execution, but Miller didn't shake as often or as violently as the first inmate did. Later, Alabama Department of Corrections Commissioner John Hamm said, quote, "There's going to be involuntary body movements as the body is depleted of oxygen, so that was nothing we did not expect," end quote. Miller shot and killed 3 people in 2 Pelham businesses in August 1999, reportedly alleging that his current and former co-workers were spreading rumors about him. Birmingham Mayor Randall Woodfin was at the White House Thursday to speak on gun violence and introduce President Biden, reports AL.com's John Sharp. The president was signing an executive order that creates a federal task force to analyze devices that convert semi-automatic guns into machine guns, although the devices, including so-called Glock switches, are already banned on the federal level. The devices are inexpensive and are being confiscated by police at an increasing rate. A Glock switch was found on a firearm that was used in last weekend's Birmingham mass shooting, which probably accounts for Woodfin's presence in Washington. Vice President and presidential candidate Kamala Harris also spoke at the event. Well, if earlier this week your significant other expressed frustration at his or her cell phone, then suddenly stopped looking at it all the time and started engaging with the family for the rest of the week, then listen up. Now, I'm not saying this story is related in any way to your situation, but AL.com's Howard Koplowitz reports that the online site Pornhub has blocked access to Alabama users over a new state law here that requires adult sites to verify users' ages. Pornhub argued in a notice on its site, which someone other than me verified, by the way, that complying with the law would put children and users' privacy at risk. The law requires adult websites to use a reasonable age verification method. It also requires warnings on their landing pages. Pornhub's parent company said in a statement that it prefers age verification to take place on the device being used to access the site, not the site itself. Texas has a similar law as Alabama's that may soon go before the Supreme Court. Let's take a quick ad break and then do a news review quiz. Y'all stay with us. All right. Well, thanks everybody for staying with us. We're back here. It's Friday, so that means we get to do another quiz with another listener. And listeners have performed extremely well the past few weeks. We're on a little run, so let's hope that Kimberly Charles can keep it going. Kimberly, welcome to the show. How you doing?
Thank you, Ike. I'm doing great. I'm just in a great mood, so I'm glad it's Friday.
Yeah, that always helps with the moods. Tell me where you're from.
Well, Ike, I'm a Navy brat, so it's hard for me to say exactly where I'm from, but where I currently reside is San Francisco, California, and I've been there for 27 years.
27 years in San Francisco. Wow. What is your
hmm
connection to Alabama?
A few of them. My brother-in-law is from Montgomery, and he went to
Okay.
Sidney Lanier High School, and his father was a superintendent of schools in Alabama in the 60s and 70s. So that's one connection. Another connection that actually is as long or perhaps a little shorter is my parents retired to Fairhope in 1994. Uh, Alabama was one of the states that didn't tax retirement pensions from the military, and my father thought that sounded great. And he and my mother discovered Fairhope in 1973. And they fell in love, and they decided, they put a pin on the map, and they said, that's where we're going to move. And they lived there for 30 years.
Well, what do you do out in San Francisco?
Well, I have one of those fun jobs that everybody wants to be a friend with me, and I work in the wine industry. And so I'm
Okay.
a marketer within the wine industry, and of course, I live very close to the famous valleys of Napa and Sonoma. And I moved out there from New York City to be closer to growing vines and making wine. And so this time of year, the air smells like fermentation. The leaves are all beautiful. So that's our version of fall. And I will tell you, yesterday we had wines from 50 states. I did not get a chance to taste a wine from Alabama, but one of these days I will.
Yeah, you know what? I'm going to plant some muscadines. We've got some muscadine reds in the grocery stores here.
Yeah, I have tried those before. Yeah, I have tried those. And there was a producer last night. It was a tasting we did with Congress on the Hill. There's a congressional wine caucus, if you can believe it. And at least something they can agree upon, which is wine, is good. So, yeah, I'm going to track down who that producer was, and I'll let you know all about it when I find out.
Tell us where you are right now.
I am in Washington, D.C., and I'm about to head home to San Francisco this evening.
All right. Well, now this time of year in an election year, did you pack your hip waders to be in DC?
Oh, I sure did. I got to tell you, they were getting ready to vote on the budget. And we were supposed to have a few representatives at our event, and they had said, we're really sorry, but we've got to vote on the continuing resolution. So, yeah, fortunately, they voted faster than I could have imagined. So that was good to see. But yeah, there's a lot of lobbying going on. And yeah, I kept my waders high.
All right. Now, what other fruits do you consider? Do you consider other fruits still wine? Like when you see peach wine, the crazy stuff like that.
Oh, without a doubt. Wine is a byproduct of fermentation, and all it takes is sugar and yeast, and then you've got your magic recipe. And not one to really be, let's say, a snob about traditionally what we call varietals. I've had some pretty darn good blueberry wine from Michigan.
Mm,
I've had some elderberry wine from Washington State. So I think as long as you're perhaps balancing, the elements of it with the alcohol and the sugar and the acid, you can make
mhm.
a great wine out of most fruits.
Okay. Well, getting back to more
Mhm.
traditional, can you give us a pick like this time of year in the fall with the foods we're eating? Is there do you have a wine pick for us?
Oh, absolutely. Thank you for asking. I would say one of two. I'm sorry, but I hate to have to make a choice. So the first thing I might recommend is a dry rosé, because it's pink, and it can be either a blend of white and red, or you leave the red skins on the juice for a little while, which turns it into a pink wine. And there are very few people that will argue over rosé. So try something like that made from Pinot Noir, Syrah, Grenache, and you'll have a pretty happy group of people. Another one I might suggest, which is a personal bias, and I love this living in California, is Pinot Noir. Or as my brother from Montgomery likes to tease me, he says Peanut Noir all the time when we're out at restaurants, when we order it off the list. Yeah, he loves to remind folks, that can't take myself too seriously. So yeah, a Pinot Noir from the Russian River Valley, delicious. Doesn't get much better.
Yeah, sounds great. You got our Dothan audience is happy about the idea of Peanut Noir. That's another way to make money out of the wiregrass.
Yes. Oh, I was just going to tell you, I'm one of the rare people in San Francisco wearing Alabama gear when it comes to football season.
That's awesome. Do you get any feedback out there? Do they look at you kind of funny?
They do. People are a little irritated when I ask the bartender to switch the game over to Alabama, which you would think would just be a natural inclination, given the rankings and the superiority of the game. But, most people, once that's done, go along and get along, which is pretty great. And every once in a while, I'll get a high five from someone and, they'll say roll tide. And same thing goes when I see someone else in the swag, but it's rare. It's rare, unfortunately.
In my rare moments outside of the South, I drop all those really regional biases, and it's like I meet a Southern person, and it's like we came from the same neighborhood when we're talking. I was in Hollywood, and the first person I met had any kind of exchange there. I was waiting in line to get a pizza, and I heard her order. And I said, "You sound like you're from home." And she said she was from Louisiana. I'm like, close enough.
Close enough. Close enough. Yes. I like to try to, having been a military brat, I like to try to detect where people are from in the South when I hear their accents. I haven't refined it quite yet, but I'm not bad.
It's harder than it used to be. With people are more mobile these days, and the kids move away, and take some of their accent with them.
Exactly.
All right, question number 1. This week, a deal was announced for Birmingham Southern College to sell its campus. If that deal is finalized, who will be the buyer? UAB, the University of Alabama System, Miles College, or the Chinese company that owns TikTok?
I'm going to say Miles College.
You are correct.
Yay.
Question number 2. According to a recent study, in what category does Alabama lead the nation? A, improved reading comprehension among third graders. B, women arrested on pregnancy-related charges. C, drug trafficking arrests per capita. Or D, beating Mississippi in state rankings.
I'm going to say B. I listened closely to this story, and so that's the answer I'm going to stick to. I think that's correct.
B, women arrested on pregnancy-related charges.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely right. Alabama led the nation and was one of only 2 states that were more than 10, and Alabama had around 100. So that's something we've written about in the past, but
Of course, yeah. I really love listening. I've been listening for about 6 years now, and ever since I got my Alexa, and I did that to keep up with all the news going on with my family in Alabama, so I could be looped in.
oh, that's great. Thanks for saying that.
Mm-hmm. Oh, sure.
It's been so much fun to do the podcast for these years. The audience is the most thoughtful and probably nicest audience / readership that I've ever worked for in media. But that may be because I don't do exclusively sports anymore.
That's true. Well, you'll have to have a little reunion of all your quiz listeners at some point.
That's right. That's right. Someone suggested like a runoff type tournament
Ooh.
format. Yeah.
Oh, that sounds fun. I don't think I'd win that, but I'd certainly be a cheerleader.
Well, we'll see. So far, so good. You're 2 for 2 in this quiz.
All
We're
right.
going to do question number 3. 4 Florida men were recently arrested for allegedly taking this from the Bon Secours National Refuge: sea oats, palmetto berries, live sand dollars, or manatees.
Okay. Well, I was thinking you might say shrimp as an answer because I recall that being also some contraband of late, but I'm going to go with the palmetto berries.
Yeah, the Saul palmetto berry.
I have
That
never
has
seen one.
There now is like a big industry for them because everybody, I say everybody, so many people take the Saul palmetto capsules or whatever, and
Oh,
um,
okay.
it's grown in demand, and which has led Florida to kind of clamp down a little bit on people going and taking berries off of other people's bushes and that kind of thing. And
Oh my goodness.
we we don't it's federal law that actually was allegedly violated, but I don't know if they'll be
Yeah.
prosecuted, but
Well,
kind of
we
even
Californians are big into supplements and super healthy things. I think we invented the smoothie, if I'm not mistaken. But I have to say that saw palmetto is not in my repertoire, so I'm going to have to do a little homework on its benefits.
yeah, like a lot of them, that one's up in the air. All right, question number
Mm.
4. The mayor of which Alabama city announced this week he would not seek re-election in 2025? I imagine this is a little higher degree of difficulty for someone not living in the state right now. But was it Huntsville's, Birmingham's, Montgomery's, or Mobile's?
Well, you'd be surprised. I stay in very close touch with my Alabama friends, and a lot of them are both on the Eastern Shore as well as in Mobile, and I stay closely tuned to what's happening there. So I'm going to say Mobile. Ah,
Nice.
wow.
Nice to have your connections in Mobile too. Sandy Stimpson has been mayor for 11 years. All right, question number 5. It all comes down to this. You're 4-0, and you have a
Oh
chance
boy.
of being yet another listener to ace this quiz and hurt my feelings and not allow me to use my buzzer, which I love using more than anything.
I'm so sorry. I hope I lose just for you.
I've been waiting for someone to step up and take one for the team like that. Question number 5. This week we acknowledged going a little deeper. Yeah. This week we acknowledged the 70th birthday of this Tuscaloosa native who became the
Yeah.
first black head football coach in the Southeastern Conference. All right. Is it A,
Mm.
Sylvester Croom, B, Charlie Strong, C, Joker Phillips, or D, Bill Clinton?
Okay. Well, Mr. Clinton went to my university, so I don't think he has any Alabama ties. Could I ask you one more time to repeat the first three?
Yes. Sylvester
Thank you.
Croom, Charlie Strong, Joker Phillips, and then the fourth was Slick Willie,
Okay.
who
I'm going to
you've
say B.
eliminated.
I'm going to say B. Just sounds like
B,
a football player's name.
Charlie Strong, and it is, and he's coached in the SEC, but he was not the first black head football coach, and he's not from Alabama. So
Okay. Well, I am so glad you got to hit that buzzer. I'll have to deal with
it's
my woes of losing, but that's all right. I'm glad to break the streak for the next person.
you did great, and it was yeah, that was an itch that needed to be scratched. But and to answer the question, the coach was Sylvester Croom. He coached at Mississippi State. He is a Tuscaloosa native and played football at Alabama and in the NFL. I have to tell you, Kimberly, you did great. I had to put a
Oh,
really random one at the end to give myself a chance to use the buzzer.
well, I'm glad I could do a service. And yeah, thanks for all the great reporting. I just love listening in, and it's at the top of my news feed because of the alphabet, or perhaps it's some other hand at it. But I hear Alabama news first and foremost, and then a bunch of international news too. And I really think local news is something we all need. So I'm really happy to stay in close touch.
Thank you so much. Thank you for saying it. Thank you for listening to us.
You
We
got it.
really appreciate having you, and this was great. Thanks for coming on the show. Thanks everybody out there for listening to us. We're going to be back here bright and early Monday morning. Until then, as always, we're open 24 hours a day and 7 days a week on the World Wide Web at al.com.